What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to Horror Hangout, the podcast. I have decided that when I talk with Steven specifically, we're going to have like a subcategory of podcast. My first time I've seen whatever movie. That'll go for anybody to see the movie for their first time with me. But specifically with Steven, because most of the stuff he hasn't seen, except maybe some of the marquee names he might have seen in passing. But like as far as like sitting down and watching them, very few horror movies is something that he could say he's sat down and watched. So it's kind of cool because you're getting to watch this with us, and we're going to be talking about movies that he's seen for the first time. So this week's episode is falling right in line with the holidays. Kind of why we scheduled it this way. We're going to drop two in a row. We're going to drop Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018. We watched both movies. We're going to do two episodes. So if we look exactly the same, it's because we're going to film them at the same time. We're just going to split it in half, and you guys get double mint gum. You get double the freshness. Remember the twins?
And twins.
So yeah, Steven, it was your first time watching Halloween?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure in passing over the years, bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But definitely first time sitting down and watching it all the way through. Yeah.
That's wild, bro. So
yeah.
We are talking about Halloween 1978 tonight. I didn't even rewatch the whole entire movie. I watched like I watched like 2/3 of it. I've seen it so many times I didn't have to rewatch the whole thing.
Sure.
Oddly enough, the stuff that I benefited from watching was all the early stuff in the movie, because you remember all the second and third act. That's
right.
where all the shenanigans happen.
Sure.
The first act is where all like these little details that so I got a couple of cool notes that I wrote down. I want to let you talk first though, because
well, I'm dying to like dig into it, because I know that there's actually recently released you ever watch the Movies That Made Us on Netflix, I think?
Yeah, I can't watch it, man. It's too corny.
Okay. Well,
the guy, like the narrator's too jolly and like.
Oh, really?
Like, bro, we're talking horror movies. Would you please talk at least just like speak regular? Like, just
nice.
You don't have to be like, and then on blah blah. No, just be like, and then da da da. But he's all like, in 1978.
So you tried to watch the Halloween episode, or no?
I tried. I got about 4 minutes in. I was like, nope, I'm out.
I want to watch it because first of all, since I just recently watched the movie for the first time, I think it's a really good companion, because I heard that there's a lot of good information in there. Like, for example, they only had 3 pumpkins. They only had 3 pumpkins to work with.
Wait, what?
I didn't know that. Like, they only had 3 pumpkins for the whole movie. That's all they had. All they had is 3 actual jack-o'-lanterns that they could use to carve and use for the movie. Then they just didn't have any more. Huh. For whatever reason.
I never would have even thought of that, because when I think of Halloween, I don't think of jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, because that movie could absolutely.
That man says, yeah, there's a reason for that, Paul.
I mean, that movie. Okay, so.
Dude, that was excellent.
I don't know how you want me to do this, but.
Dude, look, if you ain't seen Halloween 1978 by now, yeah, and you're not on the show with us, that's on you, bro. Like, spoiler alert, all right.
Yeah, look, I enjoyed the movie. I did. I tried as hard as I could to put myself into a headspace of literally the year I was born, which was 1978.
Okay.
And about what was going on, and like how many movies like this had even existed at the time. You know, that's a hard thing to do, right? Like, and the same thing I tried to do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, there's a reason why these movies are so iconic, and you know, I don't know, probably on the Mount Rushmore. Speaking of which, real quick, the Mount Rushmore horror characters. Let me see if this is popular consensus. Is it Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason, and then Leatherface?
That's what I would put.
Okay.
I wouldn't put my personal Mount Rushmore is different than that.
Sure.
If I had to look at the whole horror community and think like, okay, if we put it to a vote, the top 4 would be, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And like maybe a more modern version.
Maybe Hellraiser would be close. Yeah. And maybe Chucky would be close, but I still think the top 4 was exactly what you said.
And Ghostface, I would think eventually.
Ghostface would be on mine. for sure. And I think that, you know, Ghostface might be one of them like creeper ones where you don't really think about it, and then you get the results and you're like, oh my god, Ghostface is number 3. Like, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I love how Scream is like a movie focusing on the cliches of Halloween, of horror movies, and then itself becomes kind of a standard. That's hard to do, man.
You want to know something crazy? That I heard it on a podcast, and we'll get to Halloween in a minute. Everybody's excited about this movie. We know how popular this franchise is, and I think that you and I are going to agree on things more than you probably realize. I have a rather unpopular opinion about Halloween. And before you get all upset, folks, I like the movie, okay? Like, a lot. Like, it's one of my favorites, but like, I also think that compared to other things, it just doesn't. We'll get there. Anyways, if you take all the horror franchises that are significant, right? The most consistent franchise with the most quality films would be what? What do you think?
Man, that's tough. You've got what, 12 Halloweens now?
Shoot, man, something like that.
I think it's 12 Halloweens. There's 10, 13 Friday the 13th or more.
I think there's even 11 of those.
Okay, and then there's at least 11 of
Nightmares.
There's
like
right?
6 Chucky films. There's like 5 Hellraisers. There's like 9 Texas Chainsaw movies in the franchise.
Right. What does Scream got?
Scream is coming up on number 5 in about 6 months.
So it's hard to put that into the whole discussion because 5 is a little bit of a small. 4 is a little bit of a small number, especially with the fact that 4 was such an abomination.
No, 4 is not an abomination. 4 is a great movie. 3 is an abomination.
Oh, okay.
3 is the one with Courtney Cox with the weird bangs. Like 3 was a. Oh, so here. Well, my point was this: Scream shits on all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scream, but I thought maybe 4 movies was not enough to.
So the reason being is because even with just 4 movies, they still have a better percentage of success.
Yeah.
1, classic. 2, almost as good as number 1. That in itself shuts down the conversation.
That's
almost
true.
Okay. Friday the 13th 2. I don't think it's as good as number 1. Halloween 2, not as good as number 1.
No.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, they don't even talk about that movie.
Yeah.
The only one that I'll say is different is Hellraiser, but Hellraiser 2 is just way better than Hellraiser 1 because Hellraiser 1 sucks.
Right.
So Scream has 2 in a row that are just like 5 out of 5s.
Which is unheard of in the genre.
It's just unheard of in almost any genre, man. Look at Captain America, first one. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Second one's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thor's the opposite problem. First one's pretty good. Second one's a suck fest.
Yeah.
It's, dude, even in Spider-Man, you got 1's pretty good, 2's fantastic, 3 is just totally garbage. So like none of them have like classic, and then you start having issues.
That's true. That's
Scream,
a good point.
Even 3, which
maybe Indiana Jones. Even number 2 in Indiana Jones is the weakest of the 3. Or if you said, well,
I would say that Indiana Jones
4.
still doesn't quite get there, but close.
No, it doesn't. You're right. Because Temple of Doom, even though that was my movie, because that's the one I saw first as a kid, you've got them sandwiched between Lost Ark and Last Crusade, which to me, Last Crusade for me is top 10 movie of all time. I know that's a weird thing.
I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan. Like, I don't hate on Indiana Jones.
Right.
My wife is, so we've got all of it. So I need to rewatch those 3 movies.
But you make
I watched one of them
point.
recently, and I couldn't handle it because it was so just. Everybody looks at these movies as these like monumental, like amazing films, and the CG is so bad, and it wasn't supposed to be like.
Right.
Like on a bad horror movie, you expect bad CG,
Sure.
but on something with this kind of like, it doesn't even look as good as Star Wars, and it was made wasn't it years later?
Which one? The first one?
Any of them?
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
I don't have lots of knowledge on these 2 films.
Indiana Jones would have came out maybe 5 years after the first Star Wars. Sure.
So how's it look so much worse? Because it does.
Yeah.
You look at them just objectively. Now, enjoyment-wise, that's subjective. You can like whatever one you like, and I don't have an opinion on that. But like just objective, like quality of like CG stuff, it's nowhere close to as good, and it sticks out because it's in a movie that maybe shouldn't have a lot of it anyways. Star Wars is science fiction. You expect it everywhere.
Sure.
Anyways, look, I'm not trying to bag on Indiana Jones.
No, man, I think you make a really strong point that I don't think I've ever thought of when a franchise, and like I said, particularly a horror franchise, comes right out of the gate and knocks you dead with the first and the second one.
It's so rare.
Yeah, you're right. And then even if the third is the garbage and the fourth comes back with a bang.
So what I was going to say is that I've recently watched all of the Scream movies again, preparing for the new one.
Yeah.
The third movie, I think if people that say they don't like it went back and watched it right now,
right,
I don't think it would be like a home run, but I think they might go, I don't know that that's as bad as I thought it was. Because it's not. It's just not. It's not a great movie, but Scream 1 and 2 were so damn good. How are you going to compare to those? So they had to have some kind of valley.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they come back with 4, and now 5 is looking to be.
5 looks nice.
Here's the thing: is if 5 comes out and it's even,
then that's it.
75% as good as we think it's going to be. Dude, Scream is the best horror franchise, period. And I'm coming from a little bit biased standpoint. It's my favorite horror movie, but.
And you can't even say that it's because it's more modern to the other franchises, because the other franchises have had their modern films too. And I think that Halloween 2018 might be the only one that really stands up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's conversation for the next video, but dude, we're probably going to piss some people off with that next video. We're probably going to make some people mad with both these videos. It's okay though. This is all conversation. So, okay. What are we even talking about?
I think Halloween 1978. So I tried to, when I watched it, I tried to put myself into the situation where it's like, how many of these slasher movies like even existed at the time, and how groundbreaking was this, and
extremely groundbreaking.
All the tropes and all the things that I think are cliches at this moment in time were not.
No, they didn't exist.
They're only cliches because of this movie. So, and I recently saw that they were telling people on the set, or the writers, like, of Friday the 13th, like, just do Halloween. That's your motivation. Your motivation.
They were saying, as far as I know, they were saying basically do Halloween, but do it with more camp and gore.
Right.
Because Halloween, if you didn't notice, didn't have any gore.
Very little. Yeah.
And that's okay. So let's start there. I want to say a couple things real quick because I got to get this out before I start interrupting you. I don't want to be that guy. So there are, dude, I don't know, a dozen things that we wouldn't have if it wasn't for Halloween.
Okay.
And if we did get them, it would have been like one movie here had something come up, and then this one had something come up, and together it created a bunch of this stuff. No, Halloween by itself created a bunch of things that we now love about horror. So I want to give Halloween the respect it deserves.
Okay.
Halloween is in my top probably 20 horror movies. It's not in my top 10 personally, but it's way up there. Like, how many horror movies have I seen? Thousands.
Right.
It's in my top 20. Like, that's a okay, and it's in my top 20 probably movies of all time. Like, but when I rewatched it the first time with Carissa, she had never seen it either. If you go back and look, I have a podcast on my other channel called Me and My Final Girl. So before I started this channel, she was doing the same thing you're doing. She was watching movies for the first time. She watched Halloween. We kind of agreed that it was a fantastic movie, but not a very good horror movie in 2021.
Fair.
But without that movie, we wouldn't get what we're at now. We wouldn't have it. We wouldn't have the point of view fucking shots from inside the mask. We wouldn't have the butcher knife. You wouldn't have the boogeyman. You wouldn't have the slow walk. You wouldn't have none of that stuff, dude, because there's no telling what people would have come up with that would have just not been the same. We might have equally as cool shit, but it wouldn't be what it is now. It would be
like
different.
You said, we could have got him eventually, but we would have got him in several different films.
Facts.
And this film happened to just do it first and all at the same time, which is an accomplishment.
Yeah, so what I'll say before I start talking any bullshit is that the camera work, the cinematography in this movie, fantastic. The score, fantastic. The acting, fantastic. Dude, the fact that they could do it without gore and still scare people, fantastic. So, Halloween is groundbreaking. Now, that's all objective talk. If you want to talk subjective, that's a whole nother conversation, man, because this movie has done things that, it was a better film than, it's probably even now still one of the best horror movies as far as quality film. Dude, period. There's very few that reach the heights that Halloween's reached. So I'm never arguing the quality of the film. I'm always arguing, like, does it hold up? Do I enjoy it? Because I don't think Halloween is even remotely close to being scary. The movie was not scary. It was
No.
slow. It was a slow burn movie. So, okay, all the positive out of the way. Let's talk subjective. I want to know what you think. Sorry, everybody. This is kind of a, what's the word here, Steven? This is a tricky subject, man. You don't want to piss people off that you kind of agree with.
You're talking about a holy grail horror movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course it's going to be sensitive. I don't know. Like you said, you hit it the head on the nail on the head when you said that it's a good film, and I agree with that. I agree that quality wise, I think this was John Carpenter's fourth film.
No, is it that late?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about like all of his, like even his first Dark Star, his first movie, like all that, like just
yes, but it's like his third or fourth movie. It's early on in his career.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see the maturity in the filmmaking here, definitely, and you compare it to something that came out 5 years before, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it seemed like that. If you compare the two movies, one is just like almost like found footage type shaky cam kind of, craziness happening versus
it's
like
real,
a real like thought out production. Here's the story. This is what's going to happen. I love the fact that we don't get any motivation whatsoever in this film.
Dude, that's what drove Carissa crazy.
I love it. I love it.
It's my favorite part of the whole movie.
It's original as shit. It's so weird because it's almost like if it came out now and that was the plot, I was like, dude, that's cool. Way to break ground and not go into the origin. But like they did that in 1978. I have seen no Halloween movies. None of any of the other ones in between, nothing. So I don't know if eventually somebody dives into his motivations, his history, the theories, whatever. You don't even see where he gets the fucking mask from.
I'll give you one guess. What director started making changes in the
Rob Zombie? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that was without seeing jack shit. I already know that because that's just what he does. He thinks he's a groundbreaking filmmaker, and he feels like that's the way he has to go.
He's making that Monsters movie, and I'm really pissed off about it because he made his damn wife the main character.
Yeah.
Which you had to expect, but I was still hoping he would not do it.
Monsters, like after the TV show?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Dude, he's been wanting to do that for years, bro.
Interesting. So he's gonna make it all dark and weird, though, obviously, right?
I mean, I'm happy he's getting the opportunity. The all the photos I've seen look really good, but like, dude, his wife is not a good actor, man.
Yeah.
She's done like two things that were like good, and the rest of
I was impressed with her in House of Thousand Corpses. Just somebody that just went from a music video model to that. I thought she did an adequate job. I really did.
But then when she was supposed to reach her next plateau, it took her 5 films.
No.
Anyways.
So I will say though, 100% agree. It's not scary at all. I'm not a person that gets scared by movies too much. It has to be like really, and then of course there's disturbing where I just had this gut feeling. I'm like, ugh, I'm just, what's this world that I live in? Why do I live in this world? One feeling at the end of certain movies, like 8mm, where I'm watching a snuff film and is it real? Movie, is it not real? I'm like, ugh, this is so gross that this is a thing that happens in the world. And then there's of course just literally scared, like Mothman Prophecies for some reason, because it was too real for me, even though it was an absolutely
just watched that movie not too long ago, and I can't figure it out what
I know.
bothered you about
it was just maybe the place I was in at the time, but
large possibility.
But there's nothing in this movie that scared me. Nothing that made me not want to walk into a dark room. Nothing that made me want to say, oh, maybe I should, turn on Bob's Burgers tonight before I go to bed instead of just turning the lights off.
Part of the thing that I always tell people is that Texas Chainsaw comes up a lot in this conversation. Mm-hmm. And so should Black Christmas. It doesn't, but it should. Texas Chainsaw, they made a horror movie to scare you.
Right.
They were on a small budget, and they just thought, okay, how can we make this as real and raw and scary as possible? And that's what they did. They created that, and that's what they were aiming to create. With Halloween, they made a film that was a horror movie. Those are very different things. And a lot of folks don't know this. I guess at this point, anybody's watching this channel probably does know this, but I bet you didn't. John Carpenter wasn't even trying to make horror movies, dude. He was trying to make Westerns.
Right.
Okay, you knew that? I didn't know that.
I did.
Like,
I mean, I didn't dive into it, but I have heard somebody tell me that before.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
His first love was
a
Western.
few years ago, Josh told me that a couple years back, and I was like, oh yeah, I think I heard that before. But yeah, it wasn't like common knowledge for me to know that. So I mean, he wasn't even trying to make. Did he want to scare people with this movie? Yes. Did he accomplish it? In 78, I'm positive it scared some people in 78. Because in 78, you didn't have a movie about a guy that had no reason to kill people but still was doing it. So, you know, if you look back on this movie from now with 2021 glasses on, it seems almost boring.
And honestly, Randall, like you said, piss people off and stuff. But in the end, this is a boring watch in 2021. It is. I appreciate all the legendary aspects of it. I'm a huge Jamie Lee Curtis fan. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that in this movie, she was particularly attractive.
I think she's gorgeous. I think that she has, you know, the charisma, like just one of these timeless.
She's the only reason that I think this movie is still watchable.
Dude, Knives Out was fantastic, and I just the things that she's in, she just keeps getting better with age. I don't know. She's slowly becoming like Tom Hanks level of like, you know, oh, America's like, you know, no matter what,
it's fun. Everything she's in is good. Even if it's a scary movie or a drama or a comedy.
Hell, I go back and watch Aptiva commercials, the Yoplait yogurt commercials. That's how much I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
I forgot that she was in those.
She was amazing in True Lies.
I love just gonna say True Lies.
Oh my god, fantastic. So, I thought obviously she stole the show here. And it's so funny, and I know that we're talking about 2018 in the next video, but both of the doctors in this movie, Loomis, and I don't know the gentleman in 2018's name. Loomis was such a fucking creep in this movie. I don't know who they showed more stalking around the neighborhood, Loomis or Mike Myers or The Shape. By the way, why is he called The Shape?
Okay, so don't quote me on this, but I think they were trying to just keep him anonymous in the first when they came up with the idea for this movie. I think they wanted total anonymity, and they ended up not going with that. But yeah, in the script, he's called The Shape. Right.
You look at, I mean, even in the later movies, they still refer to it as The Shape in IMDb. It's very weird.
Because they're trying to hold, but it's stupid.
Anyway,
it's Michael Myers, dude. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah, but I mean, they showed Loomis creeping around houses more than they showed anything, more than they showed Mike creeping around the house.
I've never heard anybody bring that up. That's funny.
Dude, they kept showing so many shots of him jumping out of bushes and like, you know, and there's one cop in the town and there's this guy, and for some reason these are the only two.
I think maybe they're trying to make you think maybe he has something to do with it.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm saying maybe. I don't know.
I never got that. I just got that the doctor was, you know, obsessed, but also like, and it didn't come off right, but I think they were going for somebody that was a little sympathetic towards Mike Myers. Like, I know that
Loomis.
Yeah, well, I know that he thinks he's dangerous and he wants.
No, Loomis wants him dead.
I get it, but yeah, I guess it's hard to make the argument that I have when Loomis wants him dead. It's just he's the only
I watched
person.
Your brain work that out, and you were like, never mind.
Yeah, he's just the only person that like actually gave a second to explain what this guy's been through and what mental state this guy's in. Whereas everybody else is just like he's just some random killer that killed his older sister when he was young.
Yeah, I mean, he's not sympathetic so much as he's knowledgeable and fearful, and he's like, we got to get this dude out of here, man. If we don't, the whole town's gonna wish we had. And look, man, the movie is well made, well acted, all that stuff, all right? Like objective stuff, it's all great. I still like the movie, okay, but it is a boring movie now. It just is. And people I would think that Josh probably won't agree with that. I would like to hear his opinion. I'm sure he'll make a comment. He watches all the ones he really likes are back and forth. So, Josh, if you see this, man, I'd really like to know like how you feel about. I know we've talked about it a little bit. I'm sure you're not at all surprised that I can't remember what you said. But yeah, I don't think Josh would agree that it's a boring watch. I think that do what?
I said I don't think any of us are surprised.
Dude, I'm certainly not. I don't think he would agree that it's a boring watch, which is why I want to know that why, because the pacing of the movie is just molasses, dude. It's just like, come on, man. And it's like,
and you see the kills from a mile away. I mean, and you almost see exactly how they're going to go down too. The only part that completely threw me off is when for some reason Mike Myers decides to dress up as a ghost. That's the only part that threw me completely. I did not see that coming. And I think that's an excellent Halloween costume. If you put a sheet over your head and cut holes in the eyes and put glasses on, and they say, "Oh, what are you, a ghost with glasses?" I'm like, "No, I'm Mike Myers as a ghost with glasses." Like,
yo, I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, duh.
I should have gone to the Halloween Kills movie theater, like with that. And people are like, "What's up with this guy?" I'm like, "Mike Myers, first Halloween." God, you're not a fan, are you?
God,
like,
just get the fuck out of here.
Prick about it.
That's the only scene that made me question what the hell is going on. But
all we're gonna
everything
do
was
is bag
so
on this movie, and I don't want to do that because I have a lot of respect for it.
Yeah.
So I wrote a couple things down. Shouldn't take us very long to talk about it, but I put the first thing I wrote. I stopped the movie and like rewound it a few seconds to write this down. I put, why do I feel like every time that we think of Michael Myers, we think of a really big guy?
Yeah.
He wasn't small, obviously, but he's not really big like Jason. Like, he's not a big dude. If you watch the movie, he's not a big guy.
He got bigger in 2018 though.
He got bigger in every other movie after that. But
he did.
In the original, like, what you think, like Halloween, he's not a. He got bigger in like the later ones for sure. But yeah, but like he wasn't
the original movie.
Specifically
right.
like it wasn't a big dude.
I think that the reason they maybe made that decision later on is because some of the things that he was doing was, other than the fact that he was impossible to kill, he was also lifting people up with his one hand, and when they do it as a regular size 5'10" dude that weighs 180 pounds, it kind of looks a little silly.
Yeah, not only that, but they had to compete with Jason Voorhees. That was probably his biggest competitor. Because Freddy Krueger's not a slasher movie, Texas Chainsaw is not a slasher movie, but Halloween is, and Friday the 13th is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But I also wrote down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just said my only last gripe with this movie that I had was, I think it's so weird that the movie that got to coin the name Halloween, which is a name that's probably very coveted in the horror genre, to be able to just straight up call your movie Halloween, really could have been March 3rd. If it wasn't for jack-o'-lanterns, 3 jack-o'-lanterns. And the fact that they kept telling you it was Halloween night. There were little to no trick-or-treaters. There were 0 decorations. It had nothing to do with Halloween whatsoever.
I might title this video as Halloween, the worst Halloween movie of all time.
It's true though. Like, can you imagine, like, let's say you don't know anything about the movie Halloween and you're making a horror film, which obviously is not possible. But you're like, all right, cool, I'm going to set it on Halloween. I'm going to be like, let me see if there's ever been a movie called Halloween. And you type it in, and this movie calls it. I'm like, oh, shit, I can't call it Halloween. This movie already had it. It was supposed to be a crazy Halloween movie where people are dressing up and shit's happening and people are wearing costumes. And then you watch it, and you're like, what the fuck?
See, this is why I like watching these movies with you, because I never thought about that one time.
You look at it, watch it again, and tell me that couldn't happen on March 3rd if you just took the pumpkins away. A kid is wearing a clown costume and kills his sister, right? Kids wear costumes any time of the year at home.
That's true. That's true, because my kids wear costumes in March all the time.
There you go. I think it would have been scary if he just continued wearing that clown outfit. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Full-size grown man wearing a kid's clown outfit.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like hanging out the left side, balls out the right.
Yeah, just the whole man moose knuckle just right in the middle.
Oh, that's awesome. So I wrote down this, and I want to get your opinion on this, because when I wrote it down, I was, dude, look, I've seen this movie 20 times, bro. I've never noticed this.
Okay, I can't wait.
We get the famous scene where Laurie sees Michael out the window, then looks away and looks back and he's gone. Remember that movie? That part?
You're talking about when she's in school?
No, when she's standing in the house and he's out by the
neighbor's house. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the backyard.
Okay.
And he looks back and he's gone. This is the first time that I ever realized that just the camera looked away. She never did. So how did he just disappear?
That's hilarious. So when the camera looks away, it just looks back at her, and she's still looking straight.
So it's like the shots from here, and you see her looking out the window, and then it shows you her POV. She's seeing him.
Right.
And then just the camera looks away for a second, and when it comes back to her, she's still staring out the window.
In that
and
same
then it goes
spot.
back out the window, and he's gone. And I'm like, wait a minute, she never looked away.
That's wonderful, man. It makes me want to go back and watch it.
Yeah. Okay, so none of the stuff that I wrote in this stuff was anything of note. It's just things that I noticed for like the 20th watch that I never noticed before. Okay, so the red car that Annie drives around in. You know what I'm talking about? The red car she drives when Lori gets in and she's smoking with her dad, smoking with Lori.
Yeah,
runs
yeah.
into her dad. It's that red.
It was a Monte Carlo.
Car.
It was a Monte Carlo.
Yeah. Okay. So 1978 Monte Carlo specifically.
My dad had the exact same car except it was green.
Whoa. So I put this is on my notes. The red car Annie drives is the exact same car I almost bought from my boss, except his was green though. Back in 2001. But then 9/11 happened and I got scared to spend my money on anything and I didn't absolutely need. I just always liked that car, a 77 Chevy Monte Carlo. Awesome ride. So yeah, I almost bought that exact same car. Oddly enough, it was green.
That's so weird.
From my boss, but it was like a month before 9/11, and then I was saving my money for it. 9/11 happened, and everybody got spooked, and nobody wanted to spend money. And so I got worried about spending money on something. I already had a car, but it wasn't a very nice car, and this would have been an upgrade. My boss was a hot rod guy, so he was going to help me restore the whole thing. It was already really nice, but he was going to help me like really put some balls into it. And I've always liked Monte Carlos. It's just an interesting bit of information.
You know how I remembered that my dad had that car when I was young? It's one of my very first memories. I think it's my first memory. We went shopping or something. I was probably 4 or 5, and my hand got slammed in that car door.
Oh!
And if you see those Monte Carlo car doors,
dude, they're like an extra foot long.
They're about 6 feet long.
Dude, I have that.
And pure steel.
Bro.
Yeah. I remember my hand getting crushed in that car door. Shiny ass green color too. Sparkly, like an emerald, dude. It was crazy.
Okay, no, the one that I almost bought was more of a toned down like pistachio.
You know what? Now that you mention it, that might actually be right. I think my brain wanted it to be sparkly, but I think you're right.
The interior was more of a dark forest green with I think brown piping like on all those seats.
Okay. Yeah. All
like
the
cloth seats had like green and brown and tan plaid.
Wow.
And then
I see if I can get my dad to dig up a picture of it.
The exterior was like a pistachio green with like a dark green vinyl on the back part.
Okay.
But the last thing I wrote down before I just stopped taking notes and just finished what I was watching, because this bothered me a little bit. When Loomis went to the graveyard looking for Judith Meyer's grave, and there was the hole in the ground. Was it just the headstone missing? Because the hole was really small.
When I first saw it, I was like, okay, so I'm pretty sure the image of his sister sitting at the vanity, brushing her hair, is burned in my head forever. Because damn, first of all, because damn. So I knew that she wouldn't fit in that hole because, like I said,
so it had to be a headstone, right?
So yeah, because then you see the headstone later on the bed.
But then, like, that's
a
bro, that hole
thick
was like
ass
3.5
headstone.
foot deep.
That headstone was thick as hell and deep. I don't understand it. And why would he take the headstone? Like, I don't really understand.
I don't know.
But once again, we're not really supposed to know his motivations. But for somebody that's just randomly going around killing random people with no things, he would put a lot of effort into the headstone thing.
For real. Yeah, moving that shit would be... Bro,
yeah.
what?
I mean, he's fucking really strong, apparently.
Well, they even talk about he's supernaturally powered in the later movies.
Well, I mean, they have to explain the fact that he's unkillable somehow, right?
You'd think.
You would think.
Maybe we'll get into that in another video. Watch Halloween 3.
Uh-oh.
No, have you not seen Halloween 3? No, of course you haven't.
None. Zero.
It's got nothing to do with the entire series. It's the weirdest movie ever.
But it probably has something to do with Halloween for the first time.
It does. It's called Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And it's in my it's like my top 3 Halloween movies is that one.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not related at all. It's got Tom Atkins in it, and it's just a really great Halloween movie. It's really
good?
what it is. It's about a town that's making Halloween masks, which they throw back. They do a homage to that because they throw the Halloween masks in the 2018 and the Halloween Kills. But it's this town. It's the craziest story. It's this town where they're making Halloween masks from this company, and the 3 masks are a witch, a pumpkin, and a skeleton, and they're like on sale at this place. The place that's making them is like full of witches or some shit.
Yeah.
And these masks are like cleaning the kids' heads and like melting their heads and shit.
Okay.
And then Tom Atkins is the guy trying to save the day. It's actually
so it literally has nothing to do with Mike Myers whatsoever.
Nothing. That's why Halloween 4 is called Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers.
Why the fuck would they do that?
Because Halloween was never supposed to have a sequel.
So what about Halloween 2 though?
Halloween 2 was not John Carpenter.
Was Mike Myers in it?
Yeah, so Halloween 2 is basically like a shitty version of Halloween 2018.
Okay. And then 3 is John Carpenter.
I can't remember who did 3.
Making
but it's got nothing to do with the entire franchise.
Why the fuck would they call it Halloween again? Because they actually want to make because it wasn't right because they wanted to make a movie about Halloween for the first time.
No, they were trying to make it what Carpenter wanted to make. You know what? Let me look it up. My memory is so poor that let's see. Okay, yeah. John Carpenter did the music, but it wasn't directed by him. Okay. But I think they were trying to. So initially, Halloween was supposed to come out every year, and it was supposed to be every year on Halloween, and it was a
like almost like an anthology
movie series where every movie was different. It was called Halloween 1 this, Halloween 2 was this, Halloween 3 was Season of the Witch, and so they tried to do it. People were so pissed off when they went and there was no Michael Myers in the movie that they like rioted basically, and they had to go back to Halloween 4: Return of Michael Myers,
which was awful.
Yes. But I still like it. It's awful, but I still like it. See, the reason I like all the later Halloween movies is because of what they have that Halloween 1 doesn't have, which is gore and shit. That's what I like. I like gore. But Halloween 1's still a good movie. It's just it's not for me.
Sure.
It's a good movie. I still own it. I still watch it. I wouldn't sell my copy of it. It's not like when I reach for a horror movie, that one only comes out around October every year. It doesn't come out other than that. And
so can I rate it?
Do what?
Can I rate it?
Yeah, I got a rating for it too.
Okay, so I'm gonna we do out of 10, right? That's how we do. I'm gonna give it a 7.5, and this is my line of thought. Watching the movie, just plain out watching it, and trying to be of the time, I give the movie a 6.5. I have to give it a full point more, just for the groundwork it laid for the future. That's just the way it is. So 7.5 for me, that's my rating.
It's funny. I give it the same rating for a different reason.
Okay.
I give the rating solely based on the groundwork that it laid. I don't care about an extra point. No, it ain't getting anything close to that without that.
Sure.
It doesn't hold up. It's not scary. It's boring. There's no gore. I don't like movies that fit those 4 categories. Yeah. But this one has got so much respect from me that I have to say, okay, dude, I could not say that this is any lower than a 7.5. I couldn't. But I don't enjoy it enough to give it anything higher. I like the movie. I respect. I would even go as far as to say that I love the movie, because without this movie, I would have tons of stuff missing out of my collection.
Right.
But I love it in the whole, like, yeah, it goes in my run, but it's not a storyline that I care about.
Yeah, and Jamie Lee Curtis really, like, I know that they say it's a standout. I think that there was Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie, and there was the rest of the cast. I mean, that it wasn't even a comparison here. So that's why you're getting 7.5 out of me, as opposed to, like you said, 6.5 or 6, something that I'd be like, this is a quality film, and that's it.
I mean, it's stuck on that number for me because it's earned it just on respect value, but it's also, I can't go higher than that because I don't enjoy it enough to, and I base my grades almost exclusively on enjoyment value.
Sure, but it would be blasphemous to go any lower than that, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, it's got a certain amount of respect that it commands, and if you go any lower than that, you're just a douche. And it's like,
I hear you.
And if you're just not a horror fan at all, like if you would have said 5 because you just thought it was boring, I can't argue that because you're not in the horror community like I am.
Yeah,
I owe this movie a certain amount of my gratitude because it's created things that I love. John Carpenter's still one of my favorite directors, bar none. Like, I'd say he's top 3, like, period.
We got to do The Thing, man.
Well, not even that, but he did They Live. He did Assault on Precinct 13, which I personally like more than most of those.
I'm saying we got to do we got to do.
Yeah, The Thing.
Yeah, I would really like to dive into that movie because I've only seen it years ago and no idea that it was such a masterpiece. I need to watch it for what it is.
Was that you and me that were talking about doing the thing and something else, or was it somebody else?
I don't know, but it needs to be talked about because I need to dive into it.
Yeah, I just talked to somebody else that wanted to do the thing. No, it was you. It was the thing in Halloween. Or two that you hadn't seen.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we were gonna do Halloween this time, and then next time we do one, we're gonna do the thing. Cool. I gotta figure it out. My brain was like, what?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, man. I have a certain amount of love for this movie, and I'm just being like kind of blunt and honest about it right now. But if you ask me on any given day, how do you feel about Halloween the franchise? I'm like, oh, I love it, dude. It's Halloween, man. How can I not like it? So if you've made it this far, you get to have the satisfaction of knowing that in all reality, I love this movie. I watch it every year. I just don't think it is what other people think it is, and that's where we start to veer apart. But Josh, I'd love to know your opinion again and why, and maybe give me some details as to why, so I can kind of look at it from your vantage point. And I know Chris really likes Halloween a lot. I think he likes it more than Josh and I both. So I'm sure I'll get comments from both those gentlemen at some point. But yeah, we're about to bounce from this episode, folks, and we're going to bring you Halloween 2018 in just a moment. So thank you for watching, hanging out with us, man. This is a little bit shorter episode than we normally do it, honestly. Hey, man, it is what it is.
Not much
dude.
to talk about.
You say what you got to say and you get up out of here, right?
Yep.
And we rambled a lot about other shit. If we just strictly talked Halloween, we would have been a 20-minute episode.
Yeah, easily.
So let's go ramble about the next one, man. Thank you, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to everyone else. And go fuck yourself. No, I'm just playing. Peace.